Boom, let's discuss some rumored Marvel Legends. What's up, familia? Dayspring here with an episode of Power of X-Men to discuss a rumored list of Marvel Legends that are apparently coming down the pipeline. We've done these lists before, we've done the speculation before. As always, take anything we say with a grain of salt. But I've said this before. The beauty of Marvel Legends is that we get to speculate, right? That's part of the fun of the hobby. This has been something that goes all the way back to like 1991 when we got the 5-inch Toy Biz figures. We have always wanted to speculate and have a wish list, and that's what makes this hobby so incredibly special. And why sometimes we could get like really passionate about it. I have certainly gotten passionate about it back in the day on the Foosh. I get passionate about it on the podcast. I get passionate about it on our Power of X-Men community. So, that is part of the beauty of being a Marvel Legends collector, is knowing that there's going to be more figures and that we're always going to want to speculate and talk about it. And we all have our various wants and wish lists. And, I can just imagine Dwight, Dan, and Ryan sort of being like, that figure isn't going to happen, or, that figure is going to happen, but we can't say anything. I really want to give a shout out to the Hasbro team, as always, as we always do, because there is something, I'm telling you, I've been collecting these figures since the early 90s, since we got that Silver Storm with the Coke can like cape, right? But one of the things that has been so incredibly obvious to me in the last like 15 years is how much Hasbro truly cares. And it's funny, I was working at Marvel when they took over the license, and I saw the guy who negotiated that license because I was in the custom publishing division, and that was right next to licensing. And so right down the hall from my cubicle, I was a little intern right across from the proofreaders, of which include Flo, Stan Lee's like OG secretary. I mean, she was running the ship in terms of proofreading. I mean, Flo, oh my gosh, I loved her so much. God rest her soul. But her like bullpen was here with the other proofreaders. My desk was like right across from her, and then at the end in the corner office was, I don't know if I'm supposed to say these guys' names. How about this? It was another Paul, who was negotiating the deal, and I heard about it. And obviously, we have discussed it at length with Sam Hatmaker, who used to work at Toy Biz, who talked about how Disney was getting ready to buy Marvel, and Marvel was making itself look appealing to be purchased at the time. And one of the things that makes a company look, good is that they have little liability. And toy making, at least back in the context of the early aughts, we're talking, this is like 2006, 2007, back in the context of that era, toy producing was more of a liability. So that's why they sold off the Marvel action figure, Marvel Legends license to Hasbro, because it made Marvel look like a better investment, a better purchase. So that's why it happened. And that's from Sam Hatmaker, who was working at Toy Biz at the time. So that is sort of like the history of the Marvel Hasbro license and why we have the Marvel Legends we have today. I am saying this because there is a rumor going around right now. And again, take all of these with a grain of salt. Take everything that is said on the internet with a grain of salt, especially in today's world. We just have to take it with a grain of salt. There is a rumor going around that the Marvel Legends licensing with Hasbro is coming to an end in 2026. And that's because Hasbro is going through a plethora of issues, and they've been liquidating their assets. The way I understood and again, this is my young 20-something-year-old intern brain, so do not take me at any face value or as a source here. I sort of understood that the license was acquired because Marvel would make more money off of having it licensed out than they ever would by producing their own like action figures in-house, right? Like with Toy Biz. So it seems that like Marvel Legends is a line that has been around for a very long time. It has been very lucrative for Marvel. And when I say lucrative, I mean the fans really enjoy it. People are running out to get there. I mean, I know this is unfair to make this comparison because my targets are either in New York City or Miami, but my local target here is the Jersey City target. That's where I go. There is never any legends there, and if they are, it's because I got there at 7 in the morning to try to get them, right, and they're immediately sold out. We don't even have peg warmers here. That's why it's so hard to like understand that. So, I know that they're at Ollie's, they're at Ross. I wonder if that's part of the business model. I've wanted to understand the ins and outs of the toy making industry, how things are distributed, but you know, I would wager that the quality of these figures, how well received it is within a fandom, make it still incredibly appeasing to Marvel to keep that license with Hasbro. Does Hasbro want to renew it? I don't know enough about the ins and the outs of Hasbro other than what I've read in like the Wall Street Journal and, obviously speculation on other podcasts. But, they are liquidating some assets. I would imagine they're handling everything as an IP, right? Like Power Rangers, Transformers, it's all its own sort of department. And we haven't really heard anything with like the Marvel Legends stuff. And I believe Dan has taken it to Twitter or X, whatever, and has said that they are planning Legends through 2026. So, for the immediate future, we have nothing to worry about. So we can have fun and we can speculate. But I was actually really upset to hear about that because it's so funny. We talk about the 5-inch line, the Toy Biz 5-inch line, and how that has really inspired so many of us. And we hold this like line in such regard and love. But as compared to Marvel Legends has been going around since 2002, uninterrupted. I mean, yeah, we had like a brief like couple years where we only got like face-off figures or like 2-packs, but then we got the return of Marvel Legends. And since the return of Marvel Legends, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, it has just been nothing but like a snowball effect until it's become this huge avalanche for us fans. But here's the thing. I hold the 5-inch Toy Biz line with so much love and like care in my memory that it doesn't even occur to me that Marvel Legends has been around immensely longer. And if Marvel Legends went away, I would be so sad. Oh, Familia, I would be so sad. So I encourage us all to continue to supporting the line, to continue talking about the line, to going out and buying what we can. If we have the means to, of course, go out and buy what we can, snatch them up at Ollie's. So funny. I was in Pittsburgh just a couple of days ago, and my mother-in-law was telling me that every time she goes to Ollie's first thing in the morning, that there are men my age who are waiting outside just to get to the Marvel stuff. And she goes, and they leave with so many action figures. I'm like, Mom, Mom, you realize that's what me and your son do. Like, we wake up and we go hunting for Marvel Legends. But very proud collector, very proud of this line, and I encourage everyone to continue supporting it. All right, with all of that said, with that huge monologue being said, we're going to get into some Marvel Legends rumored waves that are coming out. Rumored waves, rumored figures, etc., etc. Again, I just want my conscience to be clear because I never want to be sourced for anything. These are just DMs I get from people all around the world, and I only start reporting on it once I see several consistencies sort of coming in, right? And also when I trust a source, right? And I've gotten heads up on some things in the past where I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not spoiling anyone's fun here. And it turned out to be true. So when I see a lot of those factors sort of come into play, that's when I'm like, okay, there is some truth to this list that's sort of circulating. And that's what I'm going to say about this list that we're going to discuss here. I'm not going to discuss a lot of them here because some of them are just like a little irrelevant to an X-Men community. Actually, you know what? I will mention them, but I may not have a lot to say about them. How about that? I'll put it out there, but I do not know what to say about Dark Avengers Spider-Man with 6 arms. I'm just like, great. Next. You know what I mean? So I just want to give it the heads up that there is a list circulating out there. I think I've seen some other people report on it. There are some figures on this list that I will tell you that I've already reported on. So let's see where everything goes. I think this is a good list. I think it's a high probability that this list is accurate. Let's see where it goes. All right. So, but again, take it with a grain of salt. All right. Our first figure on this list is a Marvel Legends Generation X Husk. I will lose my mind if this is true. We all know that Paige Guthrie was supposed to be in that original Toy Biz Wave 3 of Generation X, right? You've seen that prototype that circulated around the internet for the last, couple decades at this point, but we will be getting a Generation X style Husk. I love this. You mean we have M, we have Husk, and we have Chamber? Where's the rest of Generation X? I want a full wave of Generation X. I know that is greedy. I know that probably isn't viable, right? I don't think the Marvel Legends Age of Apocalypse waves did that well because they're still at Ollie's. They're still at the Toys R Us at the American Dream Mall in Jersey. I mean, and literally mountains of them. So I don't know. I don't know if modern audiences are so aware of Generation X that, with the exception of the diehard collectors, would be flocking to it. But I want it. I would love to see the rest of Generation X sort of expanded upon. And Husk is such a pertinent character to that. And she's never had a figure ever like rendered of her. So I really do hope we get a Marvel Legends Husk. Paige Guthrie, we need her to round out Generation X. Obviously, with Chamber, with M, and hopefully this Husk, we do have a new Emma out there. We do have a new Banshee out there. We need Generation X. Give us Skin. Give us Mondo. Oh gosh, give us Penance. I know we discussed this in an earlier video of Marvel Legends speculation that we would be getting a brand new first appearance Banshee, and I know most of the internet is on the side of that, and I am in the very, very minority of the Marvel Legends Generation X Banshee. That's who I would like to see rendered in a Marvel Legends format, but I would love at least an alternate head with Banshee and the John Lennon glasses. That's sort of our mascot right now for Marvel, for Power of X-Men here for our book club, which, by the way, we're doing a book club with Scott Lobdell on December 15th. We hopefully are going to have a really great turnout, but Scott Lobdell, who's the creator of Generation X, he was a writer. He is going to jump on book club, and we're going to discuss Generation X issues 1 through 4. So if you're available, come check it out. You will get a free Banshee sticker by X-Men artist Luciano Vejico. He did a lot of the Fall of the House of X stories. Amazing. He did a Generation X Banshee with the John Lennon glasses. Okay, anyways, so Marvel Legends Husk. Please give us Marvel Legends Husk. How would they render her? I would love an alternate head with sort of half her skin off, and like silver on other parts. That's how I would love it. You can use the M body. I'm not going to be picky with it, but that's sort of that's how I would want her rendered. We're going to need like an alternate head situation, but I hope that is real because I love Generation X so much. I love Husk. Great character. The Dark Avengers, Spider-Man with 6 arms. Throw him on in there. A Fantastic Four She-Hulk. Yes. Double yes. Oh, I would want a Fantastic Four She-Hulk. And by the way, Flink and I are going to do our annual top 10 like best of Marvel Legends of the year. I can't imagine that the She-Hulk we got in the Iron Man packaging isn't going to be on that list in some way, shape, or form. Take what what Hasbro did so well with that She-Hulk and just put on the Fantastic Four costume. Oh, I would love it. I would love it so much. I've said this before publicly. I wasn't a big fan of the Disney Plus series. I think Tatiana Maslany was casted beautifully. I love the character of She-Hulk. A lot of it was just the writing for me. I don't think the humor and the rendering landed, but it did bring She-Hulk up to the pop culture conversation. Not in the best way, sadly not in the best way. I wish it would have been a little bit more Ally McBeal, which was their sort of inspiration. So I think She-Hulk is a character a lot of us love from the comics. The John Byrne comics, when you go back and read them, they're a little hard to get through. They're not as well written as some of us remember. It's beautifully rendered, but anyways, I love Jennifer so much. I really want to get a Fantastic Four She-Hulk. I know this has been rendered as a con exclusive in the past. I have missed out on it. I would be insane if we can just get her. I would love a Fantastic Four She-Hulk. Please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next up on the list is Jean Grey in her X Factor costume. Long speculated at this point, as we've discussed, to be the green costume. Give us that first issue of Generation. Oh, I was going to say Generation X Factor. Give us that first issue of X Factor cover, right? We already got Cyclops. So, and we kind of have Iceman and Beast and Archangel already. We're just missing X Factor Jean. I mean, it's a very distinct look, right? Because we can have like Archangel, and that's fine. We have him there. We have Angel in the red deluxe costume, right? Where it's just him. So, Beast, we have the retro card waves, and then Iceman, we had a retro card. Same with Cyclops. Jean, though, I mean, she has such a distinct look. You can't just put it in like a Phoenix figure there, right? Or her 90s or any other iteration. It has to be Jean in that. Listen, I trust Hasbro at this point. You're gonna give us a green one. That's fine. I much prefer the red and gold one, but that's fine. I'll take the green one. We had the green figure already. We had the green costume in a figure ready for the Toy Biz waves, right? I believe it was a She-Force wave. I believe it was She-Force. Should have done my research before I jumped on this video, but she was a repaint of that Spider-Woman mold, right? That they used for like Sue Storm later down the road. I liked it. Listen, it was fine for the time. How about that? It was a repaint that got us a new figure or a new character. So I'm pretty happy with it as it was. So X Factor Jean, great, give it to us. I hope they give her longer hair for it, because I think some of like the earlier issues of X Factor, the way she's sort of, rendered, the way Walt rendered her, it's like the hair could be a little flippy, a little like by the times Farrah which is fine. I mean, for Jean, but I think the key with the Jean figure, and I think this is true to the Phoenix Deluxe figure that we got, is that Jean needs to have awesome hair, like out of control, awesome hair. So I hope the focus on a Jean Grey X Factor would be that beautiful, luscious red hair all over the place. I think this is great. Release her as a 2-pack with whichever figure that we need, like an X Factor Cyclops. I think we said this before in the past. My dream release schedule for this, and it would have been pricey, I mean, especially in the context of today, but at the time we were saying it was when we were getting a lot of those 3-packs with Excalibur and X-Force. It would have been great that you could have done a Madeline Pryor with a BB cable and an X Factor Cyclops and an X Factor Jean. Of course, at that time, it would have been the yellow and red costume, but it's fine. But you know what I'm trying to say. I think there's a lot of ways that you can release an X Factor Jean Grey that can be fun and clever and give fans an opportunity who probably missed out on that retro card Cyclops, which that retro card X Factor Cyclops is a beautiful figure. It's absolutely so great. I love that figure very much, but I'm all on board for a Jean Grey X Factor look. I prefer, again, I'll be in the minority here. Well, I don't know if I'm in the minority. Well, I pulled Power of X-Men, so take that also with a grain of salt, where I was like, do we prefer the green and gold or the red and gold? And I believe the red and gold came out by just a marginal like amount. Did it top the green? So, but listen, give us Jean like that. Give us multiple heads with the skull cap, with the mask, without a mask, everything. I would absolutely love that for an X Factor Jean. All right, next up is a Feral. Oh, what does Flint call her? The hot pink cat lady. Give us, folks, give us a hot pink cat lady. Give us Feral. I mean, a bubblegum pink outfit with her maniacal going like that. I'm sorry if you're listening to this. I just did like a very angry like cat. Like, give us that Feral. Oh my gosh, a travesty that we haven't gotten her yet. If she can only be a beautiful figure, high octane, like pulsating with Rob Liefeld art, like oozing out of her. That is what I want out of this figure so badly. So badly would I want that. I think we need her to finally finish off our X-Force team. She would be a wonderful addition. We've gotten her in the past in the Toy Biz era. She had like the hair and everything. But I think they can do her justice. I've said it in the past, a 2-pack with like Wild Side. It's fine. I mean, listen, that's just me being funny and like pie in the sky kind of deal. But you can release like a 2-pack, and it doesn't look like she'll be a 2-pack because we have some 2-packs listed here. So it looks like she'll be a standalone as part of a wave. Listen, great figure. I think we all want Farrell. Bring her in. Next up on the list is a retro card Mystique. So this would be, I guess, a first appearance Mystique, which puts a little bit more of a scandalous, salacious look. We'll see where we land with her. Mystique is an evergreen character, right? I think we all always want Mystique. I happen to think that Walgreens Mystique from a couple years ago is absolutely perfect. It's a perfect Marvel Legends Mystique. I'm like looking up at my TV because I had her around there with Destiny. She is a great character. I would love a first appearance. Her hair is a little different, right? It's a little bit more six straight. She has like cross stitching for her costume right there. This is when she comes after Carol Danvers, especially with Rogue. This to me would not be so left field that we're going to be getting a character like this, because we do have a first appearance Rogue. We do have Destiny. We do have Pyro out there. So they probably want to give us like some version of Freedom Force or Mystique's Brotherhood. So throw it all in there. I am all in for a retro card Mystique. All right, next up, and you know what? I'm actually kind of excited for this because I just played the re-release of the Punisher game. Would be a Punisher and Nick Fury 2-back, and of course, you can. Oh, it says it right here, based on the '90s side-scroll video, the legendary Capcom game, which, by the way, I got to tell you, is an absolute gem. Go out and buy, if you can, buy the re-release of the Marvel vs. Capcom series. They do include the Punisher game there. It is so much fun. You'll finish it in like 10, 15 minutes. It's a really quick side-scrolling game, but it is, I believe we've done sort of a deep dive on this on the podcast, or on the Instagram page, excuse me, where this was sort of a first of its kind, right? This Punisher game actually took the source material seriously, actually made the game look like it was taking place within a comic book, the bright hues. In the Punisher's case, a bit more violent than you would anticipate. I'm all for this. I'm going to buy this. Give it some good retro packaging. All right. A Strong Guy deluxe figure. I wonder if that will just be a re-release of the Build-A-Figure, kind of like how they're doing with Xavier. I'm all for that. I would be all for that. I think that's a great figure. Complete your X Factor team with him. I think that would be really great. A Doom Sorcerer Supreme, which is his current look. An Ultimate Iron Man. A Miles Morales in his Hellfire Gala. That one is a little curious to me. That of all the Miles Moraleses you would do a Hellfire Gala, especially since we don't really have any other Hellfire Gala figures, but that's okay. I mean, throw him on in there. I love Miles very much. I eagerly am awaiting his arrival into the MCU so we can all be talking about Miles. But I loved him in the Spider-Man 2 game. I loved him in his own video game. I've been reading Miles Morales comics since he was introduced in the Ultimate Universe after Peter Parker died. So give us Miles Morales, please. Okay. Here's a 2-pack. It's going to be really good. Gladiator and Deathbird. Okay, so here's the thing. Deathbird. If you're doing a Marvel Legends Deathbird, she has to have chrome parts. I'm half kidding with that. But the Toy Biz Deathbird Ninja Wave. What an era. What an era of toy collecting. Oh, with her chrome parts, everything. Near damn perfect Toy Biz figure. So the bar's a little high for Deathbird, but that's okay. I am so confident. I am beyond confident that Hasbro's going to be able to deliver this. So we're going to get a Deathbird and a Gladiator. We've seen Gladiator a couple times. He was a San Diego exclusive. He was released in the main waves. I wonder how they're going to release him. Are they going to give him updated parts? Or is it going to be a re-release of the figure? Gladiator is a great Marvel Legends figure. I mean, absolutely great figure. Oh, was he a Walgreens exclusive as well? Maybe I'm crossing it here. But anyways, we've seen Gladiator twice before is all I'm trying to say. And I think seeing him a third time will be great, especially in the company of Deathbird. We did get Lalandra, so it makes sense that we would get Deathbird, especially since we're exploring that era in Marvel Legends with the Strike Team, everything. Give us that Jim Lee style Deathbird. You know, she's so evil. She wants the throne. I want Deathbird. Like, oh gosh, that would be absolutely perfect if we got her. as a 2-pack with Gladiator. I cannot think of a better. You know what? A better re-release. It would be Lalandra in like the rebel outfit, the spider bathing suit. That would be my pie in the sky. But Gladiator, for folks who missed out on Gladiator, absolutely a wonderful way to bring that character back and to sort of round out the Shi'ar collection. Astonishing Beast, which, by the way, listen, Astonishing Beast is a really interesting figure because for the longest time, the Cat Beast that is a rendering of Astonishing Beast, we displayed. There was like this X3 Toy Biz wave where they release Beast, but in his like own costume. We displayed him because he had the Cat Beast face, and we just put like the trench coat over him. That's what we did. We did get an Astonishing Beast back when Toy Biz took over the license. It's very small. It's like a little compact. It was the way was very different back then, right? Right. That's the same way, that same era that we had like the Famke Jean Grey, where we had the Emma. So it was a little the Banshee, which, by the way, I still maintain I'm not upset with that Banshee till this day, but we know Hasbro can knock it out of the park. It's home run after home run with Hasbro. So, yeah, I'm going to agree, especially if we've been getting the Astonishing team already. Round us out with Colossus and Kitty. A Lovers 2-pack, Colossus and Kitty. Astonishing Beast, very much needed. Very much needed. Astonishing Beast. It is kind of curious to me that we have been revisiting the Astonishing era in Marvel Legends. It feels like it kind of came out of left field when they announced like Cyclops and Emma. We're like, oh, are they going to be doing the Astonishing? And then we got Wolverine, and now we have a rumored Beast. Colossus and Kitty are probably not too far behind. I think John Cassidy was a great artist at the time. Absolutely, it defined an era with Whedon, who was writing the books. So, I think it's a wonderful era to visit. I'm curious why we've sort of landed there. We still haven't even gotten a new Grant Morrison new X-Men, right? But, it's so funny. Grant Morrison's new X-Men, I didn't realize this until I started podcasting and doing Power of X-Men. It's not landed well. It hasn't aged well, hasn't landed well. Like, people are very divided on Grant Morrison's new X-Men. It's very question mark for me on that one, because for so many years I was under the impression that was a gold standard. Okay, moving on. Rachel Summers. I mean, what the number one Marvel Legends X-Men character that people want, Rachel Summers. Please, 100%, please give us Rachel Summers. Give us Rachel Summers. Hound costume, without a doubt. I was about to say this would be her first figure ever. It's not, because we got her in the Brood wave back again during that era. During that era with Astonishing Beast, we got a Uncanny X-Men Rachel Gray back when she took on Jean's name after Jean died in Planet X, and she's sort of wearing that Marvel Girl costume. We need the Hound costume. That is what we need. We need the Hound costume, and with the spikes, with multiple. You got to do multiple heads for a Rachel. I hope they're pricing it up. I'm okay if they recycle the Phoenix effect that we already got with the Deluxe Jean, but I would love clip-on like Phoenix effects, right? Clip-on Phoenix effects for her arms. Multiple heads, depowered, powered up, translucent. The whole shebang is what I want with Rachel Summers. They got to break the budget for Rachel Summers. It's the way to do this character. It's the only way to do this character. I'm sorry. I hate to say that. Okay, another figure that has also been rumored to be one that we are going to be getting is Marrow. But we're going to circle back on Marrow in a second, because I think there's another part of this list that we're going to discuss. But I think Marrow is going to fall under this section. Okay. X-Men 97 Wave 3, Morph, Jubilee, and Sunspot. We've already speculated ad nauseum about that. I believe we've talked about this before on the podcast. They were confirmed by one of the voice actors on another podcast. One of the voice actors said, oh yeah, these figures are sort of coming down the pipeline, of which to include Morph, Jubilee, and Sunspot. So not shocking that we're getting Morph, Jubilee, and Sunspot. Logan is on this list as well. Listen, I am turning 41. Well, by the time this video comes out, it's probably going to be on my birthday. I am 41 years old. We have been talking about a Wolverine in every wave since I was like 8 years old. I've made peace with the fact that you need a Wolverine figure to sort of anchor every wave. I like Wolverine quite a bit. Give us Logan in the flannel. I love the character. Give us Logan. I would, if I was going to get another Wolverine figure in X-Men 97, I would love it with like his adamantium sort of coming out and him looking maniacal, right? Like a battle damaged Wolverine. But I'm always happy to get another Wolverine. That last Logan figure that we got with the cowboy hat and the flannel, oh my god, perfection. You cannot perfection. Cable is on this list, and yeah, give me Cable. Big Nate Gray fan, by extension, big Cable fan. He needs to be in an X-Men 97 rendering. I wonder how they will do him though, because we did get him in that blue costume already that they already released in Marvel versus Capcom look. I wonder if they would give us his costume upgrade, right? His traditional, like with the shoulder pads look, or if they're going to give us a blue costume. That'd be really interesting. White Queen. White Queen. I'm like looking around if Emma's around. White Queen Familia. X-Men 97, White Queen. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. She's got the big old ruby brooch and everything. She's got like the really distinct hard bob. Yes, give it to us. Give us Emma. I know they don't do this anymore, but it would be even better if they did like a variant diamond chase, or maybe that could be an exclusive. Oh, I don't know, but I think Emma is also an evergreen character. We always want Emma around. So please always give us Emma in an X-Men 97 Wave 3. And, I think if you know the comic books, if you know the Morrison era, as we just talked about, Emma survives Genosha and joins the X-Men. And obviously at the end of X-Men 97, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, in case you haven't seen X-Men 97, this isn't a big spoiler, but just in case, we do see a board of potential new X-Men, and Emma is on it, as is Kitty and various others, but Emma is on it. Emma surviving Genosha leads her to join the team. So I think we can assume that Emma is going to be playing a major role in the X-Men 97 series going forward. Okay, so we do have a 2-pack of Medusa and Gorgon. That's great. Trident and Black Bolt, absolutely wonderful. Give some Inhuman love there. I'm finally at a point post IVX, post the Inhumans trying to replace the X-Men in the MCU and at Marvel as an IP. I've sort of found forgiveness inside of me. I've said this before. I've always wanted a universe with mutants and Inhumans, with radioactive Spider-Man, with super soldiers. I think that is the beauty of the Marvel universe, that you have so many different pockets, but it got nasty in the mid-aughts with the film rights, and there were a lot of editors trolling X-Men fans and really prioritizing Inhumans. It left a bad taste. If you had to suffer through that as a reader, it left a kind of a bad taste. The X-Men were significantly marginalized. We know that there was an embargo on X-Men merch at one point, why we didn't see a lot of Marvel Legends X-Men, why they weren't being shown in company posters that were specifically for the comic books, when other characters who had yet to appear in the MCU were rendered there. It was a hard time, to be an X-Men fan. So I finally found forgiveness at the tender age of 41. Okay, our next list. John Bernthal and Charlie Cox, I love them in their roles. I believe Punisher has been confirmed to return to the Disney Plus Daredevil series. Give us that, which is really great. But the final thing we are going to discuss are 2-packs for a Marvel versus Capcom line. But the notes I have here and that I've heard from other sources is that they cannot use the word Capcom, so it'll just be a versus line. But holy frack, a Marvel versus Capcom line. Oh my gosh, Familia, I'll be in heaven. And this is where I think we'll get Mara, and this is why I have this as my background today for this video. I would love this. Give us Ryu, give us Cammy, give us Chun-Li, give us Blanca, give us Marrow. Re-release that Cable because that Cable was impossible to find. Give us Psylocke, give us Morgan, give us that Rogue, right, with her big old hair and looking very anime style. Oh, give us a Silver Samurai again. Give us, Spiral. What a wonderful opportunity to re-release that retro card Spiral. Oh my gosh. I would lose my mind if we got a Marvel versus Capcom. And specifically, I'd want a Mega Man versus like Gambit. I want a Cyclops versus Ryu. It has to be Cyclops versus Ryu, and hopefully they can come back holding hands like that. A Marvel versus line inspired by Marvel versus Capcom. This is where I think we will see Marrow, and I think it will be Marrow in that rendering right there, as you can see in her mid 90s costume. I love Marrow's Gene Nation look. I really honestly love that Gene Nation costume so much. And that figure that we got in Generation X was, by the way, till this day, you hold that figure, the detail on it, that is unmatched. That Marrow figure was seriously underrated and has not gotten the amount of attention it deserves. But Marvel versus Capcom Marrow, it has to be that look. It just, given the time. And by the way, the Marrow IP was being pushed. He was teaming up with Spider-Man in the mid to late 90s. That was a really big IP for Marvel. And of course, she appeared in Marvel versus Capcom, which elevated her status. I know the character has sort of been ambiguous for the last couple years, and sadly, she did not win that X-Men vote. But Marrow is a great character. A lot of us know her from the Marvel versus Capcom series. Yes. Who do you guys want to see in a Marvel vs. Capcom series? What do you think of this list? I'm very curious what everyone out there thinks, because again, it's really hard for me to sort of gauge, because there is a weird level of fandom that someone like me occupies, that we have been waiting for like a Marvel Legends Rachel since like 1991, right? We've wanted a Hound Rachel. We sort of like have been collecting meticulously, and I know like in the last video I was like, oh, we're gonna get a re-release of these X-Force costumes. I'm like, we already got them. It feels like we just got them yesterday, but some people who are just entering the fandom are like, hey, we didn't get a chance to get those figures, and this is great. Give us updated molds and bodies for them. So I'm curious what everyone out there sort of thinks, and is this a good list? Are you excited for it? Who do you want to see? Who's still missing? I mean, this is, my God. This list is absolutely incredible, and I gotta tell you, if this list is to be believed, my mouth is dropped. I would honestly, I'd just be so happy for 2025, I'm assuming 2025. I would be so happy with this list, and you round that off with a Marvel versus Capcom inspired wave. Oh my gosh, that's it. Take my money, Hasbro. All right, Familia, what do we have coming up on the podcast? We do have a short interview with Chris Claremont that we did at a con. We were able to sit down with him, so we're going to be releasing that in the coming weeks. Blink and I reviewed the X-Men manga, the first half, so we'll be releasing that. We do have book club with Scott Lobdell, legendary X-writer Scott Lobdell, who of course gave us Age of Apocalypse, Onslaught, Generation X, among many other stories. So we will be meeting on December 15th. Email me at paul@powerofxmen.com if you want to join. You'll get that free Banshee sticker I was just talking about. So hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Power of X-Men. I haven't been able to crack YouTube, but we are predominantly on a podcast platform, and we are very active on Instagram. So slide into our DMs. Let us know your thoughts. Comment down below, and Familia, we'll see you later.